So back with our determinants of investment, we have taxes on business. And taxes, if you study microeconomics, you learn about how taxes would cause the supply to decrease for many businesses. So this would tend to discourage economic activity. Not moderate taxation, but if taxes do go up, and at some point it's probably going to have a negative effect on investment. And so governments do have to be careful on the level of taxation. And the lower taxes might be a way to encourage investment as well. It doesn't guarantee it. Sometimes Congress would cut taxes on business, encourage us more, but if current sales are bad, then there's really no reason for them to invest. If they have low expectations for profits, then even though taxes are lower, it doesn't mean they're going to invest. So all these things interact with each other. And interest rates is the cost of using your money for investment or the cost of having to take out a loan for investment. It doesn't matter if you have to take out a loan or you have all the money in the world, the interest rates still affect you. So for example, let's say you have $100 million in the bank. And let's say you want to use that into some expansion of your business. Say you own a chain of restaurants and you want to build maybe 2 more restaurants in a new part of town, and you're thinking about taking money out of the bank to put into your restaurants to invest in your business. Well, you have to look at what the bank is paying you. So maybe the bank is paying you, say, 5% on the money in the bank, and your investment project has a return that you project maybe of a modest gain of 2%. What should you do with your money? Leave it in the bank is what I would say. So rate of interest affects not just people who have to borrow money, but people who have money. This is the opportunity cost of using your own money. There's a cost to using anything that you own. So we're going to spend more time on interest rates because interest rates is a main avenue for monetary policy. Monetary policy targeted interest rates. And so we have a demand for investment line that looks at the cost of investment, which is the interest rate, and this is a percent, which how much investment takes place, and it's downward sloping. This would be your demand for investment. And so we can see up here that at high rates of interest, we're going to have maybe a small amount of investment, all things being equal. So I'll just make up some numbers. Let's say this rate is high, say it's 10%, and this might be for investment for California or something, and I'll just make up a number. Let's say it's $10 billion of investment. And so if you drop the rate of interest down, either it comes down through normal market activity or driven down by an act of the Federal Reserve. One of the reasons to drive down the rate of interest is to increase investment. And so if the rate comes down, all things being equal, you get more investment. So rate comes down to say 8%, maybe 6%. You might get maybe $30 billion of investment. That can happen on its own, or it can happen because of, again, an active monetary policy by the Federal Reserve. That would also affect consumers as well. So it's designed, this policy, if it's monetary policy to expand the economy, is designed to increase business investment as well as consumer spending. And then if the Federal Reserve thinks there's too much inflation in the system, then they can do the opposite. They can move rates up 6% back up to 10%, designed to slow down business investment and consumer spending. A question on the exam might be, is there a way to get more investment at the same interest rate? For example, keep the rate at 10% and don't drop it. Is there a way for us to get more investment at 10%? And the answer is yes. Not with that line, but with another line. So if investment demand moves out to the right, call this demand 2, then you would get more investment out to here. And got the line down. Now it might be saving $40 billion. What would cause that? Well, it's back to our determinants. It could have been that a new product came out that's fantastic for business, a new type of machine that does some miracle thing for business. I don't know. But when the internet came out, businesses plugged down a lot of money on connections and servers and things like that. Or when personal computers came down, a lot of small businesses, they went out there and they bought these new Apple computers, what was it, Commodores back then. It could be expectations. Maybe they think business is going to be great. Maybe they think that the economy is turning around, that we're going to get a vaccine for a virus, and therefore people can go back to work, and therefore we're going to take our money that we're saving and put it into our business. Or maybe we could take out some loans. Now it can also go the other way. So again, this is interest rates here. This is the amount of investment, I. And so again, say the rate is up here. Let's say it's 10%. And the Fed drops it again to 6%. Well, they're trying to increase investment from say 10 billion over here, and this drawing it now looks more like 20 billion. And the Fed can do that, but the problem is, again, we have animal spirits, and this could be a limitation of monetary policy. That up here we move demand out based on the expectations of good times coming. Well, if animal spirits die and business thinks that sales are going to fall, we're going into recession, times are going to be bad, then investment can move the other way. Shift inward. So this is the first demand, D1, for investment. This is D2. And now would be a lack of animal spirits. And you can see they try to get investment up to 20 billion, but now it's 6%. It hits the new demand line here. Now investment looks like it's going to be cut around in half. So the Federal Reserve can try to expand investment, try to increase it, but they can't force it. What they can do is drive down rates of interest, but it's business that decides if they're going to borrow the money or not, or if they're going to use their own money for investment projects. And that's the big limitation on monetary policy. It's usually summed up in the phrase that you can lead a water to the stream, but you can't make the water drink. I said that wrong. You can't. Wait a minute. You can lead a horse to the stream, but you can't make the horse drink the water. In this case, the Federal Reserve can drop the rates of interest, but they can't force businesses to borrow the money. And that's investment. And now we're going to put it together in the next lecture and talk about equilibrium.